Okay, so the first test that you're sitting for me is quite an old one. It's 2008, summer 2008. I've set the grade boundaries at that, so you're looking at scoring over 65 in order to get a grade C. So, question 1. Zoom in a bit. Only using the numbers from the following list. Okay, and it's quite a common mistake for people to answer these questions but without picking the numbers from the list, and obviously you're going to lose marks if you do that. So write down two numbers which add up to 36. So you're looking for two numbers from the list. They're going to add up to 36. What have we got there? 24 and 12 add up to 36. Have a difference of 23, so you need to know that a difference means you're going to take them away from each other. And I can see, and sometimes I can look at these and it can take me ages to get this, but I can see quite quickly there that 46 and 23, if you take 23 from 46, you get 23. Two numbers that multiply together to give an answer of 63, so you need to know your times tables. I know 9 6s are the only ones in the times table that give, sorry, 9 7s. 9 7s are 63. 9 6s are 54. And the number that when divided, two numbers that when you divide them together give an answer of 15. So it ends in a 5, it needs to be end in a 5 or a 0. So it's going to be 60 divided by 4. So you're going to get 1 mark for each of those that are right. Writing figures, the number 7,425, and the advice I always give when you're doing this is to start from the units and work out into the hundreds and the thousands. So 25 is going to be 5 units, then 2 tens, that's your 25, 425, 7,425, and that's the number. Now for this question, you need to read it carefully. It's worth 2 marks. What fraction of the following figure is shaded? 1 mark. But then you've got to give your answer in its simplest form. So there are 2 marks available for this. So the total number of squares, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 30 squares there. So the fraction is going to be out of 30. And the number of them that are shaded, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 fours are 16 out of 30. So if you give your answer as 16 over 30, you're only going to get 1 mark, because both of those you can divide by 2 and get 8 out of 15. So that is in its lowest form. So if you've got 16 out of 30, you get 1 mark. If you've got 8 out of 15, you get both marks. Okay, using the list of names given below, write down the correct name of each of the shapes shown. Sometimes the question won't give you a list, you've just got to be able to write them down. This time they're giving you a list. That one hopefully is a rectangle. So that's there. The next one is known as a trapezium. So that's there, and this is a 5-sided shape, which is a pentagon. Okay, so those are facts that you need to know those names. 3 marks, 1 for each. Total for the page, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, question 3. Mr. Matthews, focusing very well. my eyesight. Mr. Matthews keeps a record of the marks obtained by his pupils in a mental arithmetic test. His results are shown in the following table. So they've been tallied ready for you, and what we have to do is then turn those tallies into a frequency by counting the number of little sticks. That's a group 5, that makes 8, 2 and 3. And we have to make that fit on our chart there. So complete the frequency column in the above table and use this data to draw a suitable bar chart on the graph paper below. So the frequency always goes up, and that needs to go up as far as 8. 2, 4, 6, 8. And then we've got to go across in 5s, from 1 to 10. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 I think is going to be best here. I'll need to label that mark. So the first one is going to be a mark of 1, and that's going to have a height of 2. Now when you're doing this on the exam paper, make sure you're using a pencil in case you go wrong, and make sure you're using a ruler. If I use a ruler, it tends to smudge the ink, so let me try. So 2, and then that's 1, so that's hang on a minute here, hang on a minute. This is a bar chart, so the bars go in the middle. So I'm in danger of not getting all the marks here myself. So that's 1. 2 is 1. So 2 is that one. So you see there that because it's a bar chart, the actual data, the information goes in the middle of the column and not the tick marks at the end. So that's 2. A mark of 3, there were 4. So again, you use a ruler. A mark of 4, there was 1. A mark of 5, there were 2. 6, there were 3. 7, there were 5. 8, there were 8. 9, there were 2, and 10, there were 3. So that's what the bar chart looks like. Usually with a bar chart like that, where you're counting numbers, number of pupils, number of votes, whatever, you would leave gaps between the bars, but you haven't really got the room on that graph to do that. So there are 4 marks for that. There's 1 mark for completing the table. There's 1 mark for the labeling, and the labeling means that it fits the graph paper nicely, so that you've gone up 2, 4, 6, 8 and 1 there. There's a mark for making sure that all your heights are right, and there's a mark for the fact that the widths of those are all the same and that your labeling is in the center. Sorry, no, that is your 4 marks. Okay, so 1 mark for completing the frequency, 1 mark for your axis there, 1 mark for drawing it correctly, 1 mark for making sure that that's labelled in the center. Question 4. John hires a car from Abbey Car Hire. Find the cost when the number of days for which John hires the car is 5. Just zoom in a bit there. So, cost equals number of days times 40 plus 50. So, cost equals number of days is 5 times 40 add 50. Now, you always do the times in the multiplying before you do the adding. So, that's going to be 5 times 40 is 200, add 50, which equals £250. You have one method mark there for writing that down, and then 1 mark for getting it correct. The symbol triangle is used to make the following patterns. How many of the symbols triangle would be needed for pattern number 4? So if we see what's happening here, that top row is 3 there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 there. So that's your 3 times table, 3, 6, 9. So the fourth pattern would have 12. And then the next one down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I reckon that's going to be 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So this now is going to be 6, 9, 12, 15. Now if that's 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, then that's going to be 3, 6, 9, 6, 9, 12, 9, 12, 15. So the next one along will be 18. So what we've got there is 12 and 18 is 30, 45. Okay, so you'd have 1 mark there for the method of working out each part, 1 mark for the answer. Total for the page 2, 4, 8. Okay, so if you've got everything right up to this point, then that means that you're definitely not going to get a U, and you're working for a G. Now, with a symmetry question like this, the advice that I always give is to turn the page around so that the line of symmetry you're looking down, because it's easier to see a reflection when your eye is looking down the line of reflection. And what we need to do is to work out where each of these points are going to be on the opposite side of that symmetry line. And it's the same number of squares the opposite side. So that point there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then back to the start, or back to S. So joining that up, first one, and again I'm doing it in pen so it's clear on the camera. On the exam paper, for goodness sake, use a pencil so that you can rub it out if it's wrong. And again, that looks straight away, because you're looking down the line of symmetry, you can see straight away that that's right. So 2 marks for that. 1 mark if you've got 2 points right, 2 marks if you've got it all right. Okay, draw a circle around each of the following fractions which is equal to a quarter. So just like we did with, where is it? Just like we did with that question, you can cancel it down to a simpler version if you can divide the top and the bottom by the same number. So if we do that for each of these, that we can divide top and bottom by 6. And if we do, we get 6 divided by 6 is 1, 12 divided by 6 is a half. So that's not equal to a quarter. This one we can divide top and bottom by 2, and we get 2 divided by 2 is 1, 8 divided by 2 is 4. So that's one of them. This one we can divide top and bottom by 7. 7 goes into 7 once, 7 goes into 21 3 times. This one we can't divide top and bottom by the same number, by the top number, but we can divide top and bottom by 2. But the highest number that we can divide top and bottom by is 4. And if we divide by 4, we get 12 divided by 4 is 3, and 20 divided by 4 is 5. So that's not a quarter. This one we can divide top and bottom by 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1. 25 divided by 5 is 5. This one we can divide top and bottom by 7. 7 divided by 7 is 1. 28 divided by 7 is 4. So that's another one which is equivalent to a quarter. And then this one we can divide top and bottom by 5. 15 divided by 5 is 3. 35 divided by 5 is 7. So the only two that are equivalent to a quarter are those two. So you'll get one for each. Okay, these are sort of standard equivalents that you need to know. 0.5 is a half. Half as a percentage is 50%. A quarter, you should know that a quarter as a decimal is 0.25 and as a percentage is 25%. What you then need to do is put these in ascending order. So you need to know that ascending means small to large, and you need to put them in the same form that they are given. So the smallest is a quarter, because that's 25%. Then comes the 50%, which is 0.5. Then comes 60%. So you get 1 for the 50%, 1 for the 25%, 1 for putting them in the right order. Tom buys 4 oranges. Each orange costs 72 pence. Tom pays using a £10 note. Now, just remember this is a non-calculator paper, and whatever method you want to use to work this out is fine. So if you want to do it all in your head, you can, but you'd probably be better off writing down a few of the numbers that you're going to use. So 72 pence times 4. I'm going to do here. So 4 2s are 8, and 7 4s are 28. So that's £2.88 they cost. So the change from a £10 note, whether you want to do it as a long calculation or whether you just want to do it by counting on in your head, it's going to be 12 pence to take you to £3, and then so 12 pence to £3, and then from £3 to £10 is £7. So it's going to be £7.12 change. Okay, so and then you can check that those add up to give you £10. So there'll be 1 mark for the £2.88, 1 mark for the answer. Total for the page 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. Okay, these questions come up very regularly on a foundation tier paper, where they're relying on you to know the typical height of something and then to compare that to something else. So they're looking for you to know there that the height of a car, probably a car that looks like that, it's not a tall car, it's not a 4x4, the chances are you're going to be standing a bit higher than it. Let's assume that height is about 1.5 meters. Now you can use feet for this if you like, so long as you make sure you're telling them there what you're using for the height, actual height of the car. But you should really be using meters. So you know that the height of that car is 1.5 meters. Now in order to use that information to estimate the actual height of the house, you want to see how many of those cars stacking up on top of each other will be the same as the height of the house. So using your ruler, the height of that is about 1.2. So going into the house, that's 1, that's 2, that's 3, that's 4, that's 5 and a bit. Okay, so it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 lots of 1.5. 5 5s are 25. 5 down, carry 2. 1 5 is 5. 7.5 meters. Plus is a bit more. So say that's another half a meter. So plus 0.5. The house is going to be about 8 meters. Now you'll get 1 mark for whatever you've chosen to use there. Then you're going to get a method mark for whatever you're doing to work out the equivalent of that. And then you're going to get 1 mark for showing how you do it, and 1 mark for a reasonable estimate. If you've got anything between 7.5 and 8.5 there, if you're working in meters, that will give you the right answer. Question 8. So we're on to our F grade questions now. Andy counted the number of matches in 9 different matchboxes. The results were as follows. Find the median. Okay, so there are 3 different measures of average you need to know about: the mean, the mode, and the median. The median, think medium, think middle. So you're looking for the middle piece of data, but you have to put them in order first, otherwise it's not a middle, it's just the middle one rather than in the right order. So first of all, we re-list that in order from smallest, which is 45, and put a little dot or something under it so you know you've counted it. Then comes another 45, then comes a 46, then I've got a 47, then another 47, then a 48, then a 49, then a 50, then a 51. Now we're looking for the middle, and this is an odd number of boxes, so it will have a middle. So we're looking for the 5th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that one there has got 4 that side and 4 that side, so that's the median. And then the range is the largest, take away the smallest, and you have to actually work out what that is. It's not just 45 to 51, the range is 6. So for that you're going to have 1 mark for the method of ordering, 1 mark for writing down what the middle is, and 1 mark for the range as 6. Okay, so 1 card is chosen at random from the 6 cards shown above. Mark the positions of P, Q and R on the probability scale given below, where P is the probability of the number on the card being 4. So the probability of you getting a 4 is going to be 3 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 3 out of 6, because there are 6 cards, 3 of them have got 4 on. That's the same as a half. So P is going there. and make sure that it's clear for the examiner to see that that's what you're pointing to. So put an arrow and put P underneath. The probability of the number on the card being less than 10. Well, all of those cards are less than 10, so the probability is going to be 6 out of 6, which is 1. So Q is going there. And R, the probability of the number on the card being greater than 8. So there's only one number which is greater than 8 out of 6. 1 out of 6 is a pretty small number. If you think of dividing that into 6, so you'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's going to be around there. So 1 mark for each of those. Total for the page, 10. Now we're on to our E grade questions. Jeremy decides to fit the new carpet in the lounge. The lounge is in the shape of a rectangle measuring 4 meters by 3 meters. The area of the lounge, area, length times width, equals 12, and the units square meters. 1 mark for timesing, 1 mark for getting the right answer. Jenny chooses a carpet which costs £15 per square metre. There is a charge of £35 for fitting the carpet. How much does Jenny have to pay to buy her new carpet and have it fitted? So the lounge is 12 square metres, and every one of those square metres is going to cost 15 quid. So the cost of the carpet will be 12 lots of 15. And again, it's a non-calculator paper, so it's whichever method you're happy using to do that multiplication. Let's do it the long way. I think lots of you are now most comfortable with this idea. So we've got 12 times 15. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 5 is 10. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 5 is 5. Then you add up your diagonals. 0, 8, 1, 0, and you read off your answer going that way. So it's 180. And then you've got to add on the charge. So plus the £35 for fitting it. 5 and 0 is 5. 8 and 3 is 11. 1 down, carry 1. 1 and 1 is 2. So the total cost is £215. 4 marks for that. So there'll be 1 mark for trying to work out the cost of the carpet, and 1 mark for getting 180, and then 1 mark for adding on the 35, and 1 mark for getting the right answer. Okay, so we're on to the D grades now. 10. Find the size of the angle marked X. So we've got a triangle, so should trigger for you that angles in a triangle add up to 180, and you also need to know that that symbol there means that that angle is 90 degrees. So we know that 90 and 29 are 2 angles we know. If we add those together, we get 119. So that angle is going to be 180, take away 119, and again using whatever method you're comfortable with to do that subtraction. The one you've been taught in school is to borrow 10 from the column across. So you can't take 9 from 0, but you can take 9 from 10, remainder 1. 1 from 7 now is 6, and 1 from 1 is 0. So X is 61 degrees. 1 mark for getting 119, 1 mark for taking it away from 180, and getting the right answer. 10B, okay, it's still with triangles, but this time there's more information again. These 2 little lines here mean that that side and that side are the same length. which means that is an isosceles triangle. With an isosceles triangle, the angles at the bottom of the lines at the same length are equal. So if we do 46 from 180, again we're going to borrow from there, so that's 4, 3, that's 134. So those two together have to add up to 134, and they're the same. So now we've got to do 134 divided by 2. And that is 67. So that means that that angle is 67 and that angle is 67. So that's the triangle work. Now we know that this is a straight line. We also need to know that angles on a straight line add up to 180. So if that's 67, that side must be 180 less 67. So again, we need to borrow there. So angle Y is 113 degrees. So for that, you're going to have 1 mark for working with your isosceles triangle. You're going to have 1 mark for working with a straight line, and 1 mark for getting the right answer. So total for that page, 611. And then we'll just finish off this question 10. Different shape this time. This is a quadrilateral. It's a 4-sided shape. You need to know that the angles inside a quadrilateral add up to 360. If we add up what we've got there, that's 130, 200, 300. So that angle there must be 60. And then we're onto a straight line again. That must add up to 180. So you can do 180 less 60, which is 120 degrees. So again, there's 2 stages to that. Inside the quadrilateral, add up what you know, take it away from 360. Then you're going to take that away from 180, and that will give you your answer. And then the final D grade part. Draw the reflection of the given triangle in the y-axis. So this time the y-axis is there, so that's my mirror. So I'm already looking along that line, so I don't have to turn the page around. But the mirror works in the same way. So if that point there is 2 squares away on one side, that point when reflected is going to be 2 squares away that side. That's 1 square away, so it's going to end up there. And this one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that one ends up there. Join those together. And hopefully it will look like it is clearly reflected. So it's a little bit off because I've smudged, but that's fine. So there's your extra mark there. So that takes us up to the C grade questions.